Good evening, it's April 30th, 2025. The time is 7:27 p.m. We are now about to start our Building Grounds and Transportation Committee meeting. Present for the meetings, myself, Pete Piro, Ms. Bora, Ms. Ratner, Ms. Martyr, Dr. Lehman, and Mr. Tague. Let's start with Mr. Tague with first thing on your agenda.
Okay, we're gonna go over several things for the Applegarth Rod Grant projects. First off being the roof bids review. You received a copy of the bid tabulation, which included a letter of withdrawal from the initial low bidder, MTB. They came in substantially under the other bidders. They submitted the letter which we've seen after the fact, identifying that they made a substantial error in their bid and were requesting to withdraw. Board Legal Counsel has reviewed the request and the documents and concurs that their bid can be withdrawn, and the architect supports it as well. The number two bidder, Prabco Inc., is someone we have experience with. They did the 1936 building roof at Applegarth last summer. They also 3 years ago did a substantial and complicated project for us across the street at the middle school. So they have a proven track record with us of being a very highly competent contractor. I too support the award to Prabco, the base bid amount of $2,342,548. For clarification, you'll note that there were several alternates included, alternate 1, 2, and 3, and those were different roof areas. We included those as amounts to withdraw from the project, as we were concerned that this project may come in overbid, and if we didn't have enough money in the ROD grant appropriation, we would have to scale back part of the project. Actually, the opposite has happened. Projects such as this are driven by petroleum-based products and the price of oil. As you've seen lately, the last several months, oil has dropped significantly, and that helped to greatly reduce the cost of this project here. If we make the award in the amount of the base bid, that completes every single piece of roof at Applegarth School, and it also keeps a substantial cushion within the overall ROD grant project or under budget.
To the $500,000 difference between the two, we're okay, we are able to absorb that.
Yes. Again, if you look at bidders number 2 and 3, they were within, I think, about $40,000 of each other, Prabco and USA.
Yeah.
That's where it should be. The other bidders, upwards of $3 million.
Okay.
So you can tell that MTB was really out of the ballpark there. We have 2 substantial allowances within the project because we have a couple of areas of concern. You recall when we did the 1936 building, we had an allowance in there because we were tearing off an old building. We weren't sure how much of the substructure would be damaged and have to be replaced. And you put an allowance in there and allows you to build off of that. You may recall in the 1936 building, there were sections of the roof that were rotted when we did tear off, and we paid an extra to have those areas identified. That was paid out of the allowance. We did not use all the allowance, and that money was then refunded back to the Board of Education. So we have substantial allowances on this, one for unforeseen conditions and the other is for the storm drainage system. The back of the building, 1983 wing, has underground cisterns, which are about 50 years old right now, and we're concerned that they may not be stable. So we put an allowance in there, which will set aside money so that when we excavate that area, we can make a determination how much, if anything, we have to do there. Hopefully not much, and we can return some of that money. Worst case scenario might be even a little more complicated. You might have to go further. The reason you don't design that into the bid is because you would spend tens of thousands of dollars to excavate that area now ahead of the bid. Open it all up and say, okay, we need to fix this. Close everything back up and then just write that in the bid documents. So you kind of waste that money unnecessarily. It's a better approach to put in an allowance and closely monitor how you go about it. So if the committee is in agreement, we'll have a recommendation resolution prepared by legal counsel to award to Prabco.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
The next 2 components of the ROD grant are the electric service and the HVAC projects. The HVAC projects, you may recall, we awarded back in fall. We have been moving aggressively with that contractor, processing equipment submittals. They have things on order. If you've been by Applegarth School, you'll see several T-box storage containers there that are loaded with equipment. You've been receiving the HVAC equipment that is to go in. Ready to start installation soon. We've had them out there several days a week doing exploratory work. He's gearing up and getting ready to go as soon as school lets out. You also recall we talked about 3 phases of this project. You need a new electric service to run all the HVAC equipment. We awarded that contract this time last year. We actually opened the bids in March of 2024. And at the time, we indicated to the board that there was an 18-month lead time for some of the electrical components, which would put us past June when we needed to start the work. We said we'd closely monitor that, and if it didn't come to fruition, then we'd have to look at an alternate plan B. So some good news and bad news. The good news is JCP&L with transformer has indicated that they have that ready. That's a major component of their electric work. However, there are other components, primarily what's called switchgear, that is not available. It was originally indicated to be shipping in October of 2026. We've now improved that to August. Manufacturer will not go beyond that August commitment. However, it is possible that they will beat that. The situation this puts us in is you award the roof project. And we talked before about how the roof and the HVAC go hand in hand. Right now, the roof is covered with 50, 60-year-old HVAC equipment that is going to be removed. We didn't want to do those roofs last summer because we would have worked around that existing HVAC equipment. And this summer, when the new stuff comes in, we would tear it all off, cut holes elsewhere. It would really damage your roof. It's not the proper way to go about it. So now, starting in the school year, we can tear off all the old HVAC equipment, put down the new roofs, roof around the new HVAC equipment, and then you need simply to be able to plug in the electric. That is the conflict we have now. We won't have the electric service at this time ready for the start of school. So what are your options? Option one is you say, stop, we're going to wait until that stuff comes in, and then you would have to delay the project until next summer 2026. If you were to do that, you will be looking at delay claims from the HVAC contractor because he's mobilized and ready to do work now. Things such as his labor rates, union contracts, et cetera, will increase. Just general inflation will rise his cost up and he would be entitled to a substantial cost increase. The same thing happens with the roof project. As I indicated, oil now below $60 a barrel, we got great prices. Next summer, if oil's up $80, $90 a barrel, you could be looking at major six figures, even possibly a seven figures increase in the cost of the roof project. You would not have enough in the RIDE grant to be able to do the work. So your other option is look for a plan B. If we cannot open in September, we need a month, maybe as much as 2 months. What do we do to house the students? So administration is working on various plan Bs, house students elsewhere. Some things have been discussed, keeping the trailers across the middle school, which would house 8 classrooms. Dr. Lehman, I think, indicated we have 8 fourth grade and 8 fifth grade as the basis. So that could house 1 grade level. And we're looking at other options. Catholic school over in Spotswood, for example, will be vacated in June. We're looking at some township properties, et cetera. So we have some plans or some ideas for some plan Bs. The decision to move forward, though, is kind of upon us now. You either award this roof contract next week and we make the commitment to do these things. You work up several plan Bs. We've got several months ahead of us to communicate with parents and put our plans in place for the start of school. And then we hope that maybe by mid-July, this electric stuff comes in and we start the work. I can tell you that we're not looking at delays by the electric contractor because it is in his best interest to get this work done. There is what is known as a liquidated damage clause in his contract. So for every day he is late, pays a $500 a day fine. He's not a big profit margin on this, so if he's a month or two late, he's looking at tens of thousands of dollars in lost profit. So it is in his best interest to get this done. When the equipment comes in, I'm assured that he will be working 7 days a week, extra shifts in order to make sure that we can open in time for September should that possibility arise. So that's what we're looking at the other 2 components of the project.
So the probability, given that he's also bound by the contract, the probability is there more for it happening on time. Like we need a plan B, I understand, but is it 50-50? What would you say that we should be putting our emphasis on plan B as a 50-50 probability or?
With the global environment right now, with tariffs and global prices, I wouldn't know what to tell you. As we know, it changes day to day, so.
We need a plan B.
Yeah. Oh, I change this direction.
So we need to, have a way, and like you said, there's options, immaculate, trailer. I have a question with the numbers going down in the middle school. will we possibly be able to use the trailers that may be up west in the middle school?
So, and that's a thought that we've already thought of, so we're not gonna go into the particulars with any of the plans
Yeah.
at this time. However, that being said, I did want to let everybody know, and you may have said it, I apologize for coming in late. I have already written a formal letter to someone through the Archdiocese of Metuchen. So a formal letter has gone out requesting, if they would, it's Metuchen.
Oh, it's
It's Metuchen, for whatever reason, it's
That's the
Metuchen.
dive for the whole.
Metuchen
house.
is Spotswood, yes.
Monroe.
So what happened was I called, I spoke with, I believe, a Monsignor, please excuse me if I gave the wrong title, spoke with a gentleman, he basically, called back and gave me the information, gave me the direct email. We wrote a letter, a direct email, just saying, if this is a possibility, we'd like a tour, you know, we'd like to be considered. Possibilities, all if possibility, it's all, we don't know. That being was said, we, have a possibility, we have the trailers, which we know that we were going to relinquish as of July 1st. So we know that that houses 8, which would be 8 sections. We have 8 sections in 5th grade, 8 sections in 4th grade. So that's exploring it. The middle school, even though it's going down in numbers, it still utilizes all the classrooms. That being said, if that was the situation, could we look at other large group instructions? Could we look at various different things? There are a couple of extra rooms. All of these are absolute considerations. The biggest thing, and I apologize once again if this is something that you said, the biggest thing that we wanted is we want to be able to say, you know, I only make a recommendation, that's all I can do, and then of course you guys make the vote, but we really feel very strongly we want to move forward. And I believe you may have said it before I got here, we want to move forward, and we do have a contract out for the May 5th on the board meeting, so we need to, the public needs to hear that we want to move forward because the delay will never come back from. If you delay it, it's not a delay, oh, it's only a delay for the summer, no, it wouldn't work that way, it would be a domino, I believe that was the term you used, a domino effect delay, so it is our belief administratively, and we hope that the board agrees to move forward with it, and we respect that you know, your children are in good hands, and whatever decisions that we have to make, we will come way in advance with a plan that is appropriate and, responsible educationally, responsible socially to the children, and responsibly, safety first and foremost, we're not concerned at all. I feel very confident in this, because as the person who has been moving from place to place, we moved into the middle school, and Jerry came to me, and I was the principal, and said, this wing and that wing are not done. School's opening, what are you gonna do? So what did? We sat down and we came up with a plan. And we came up with a plan of how we were gonna handle, I think it was 8 classes, if I'm not mistaken, of what we were gonna do to give them quality education. We also, you know, it's the beginning of the school year, and all of this might be a moot conversation. But we will make sure that we assume it is not a moot conversation, and we will have that plan. So the purpose of tonight's meeting was to just bring to the forefront that this is a possible reality, and we are not concerned, because we will make sure that we have a quality plan for children in a safe, proper environment, educationally sound.
So what I understand, and right now the board's role is to tell you, don't stop.
That is really the role of the
Is
board.
that what you're being asked to
If
say?
we don't, we have to get these
Because it's a
contracts.
whole 12-month stop there.
If we don't do it, then.
Oh, no, it could be.
They
It's a
said
domino
we'd have to
effect
do it a
financially.
year later. By then, like he said, if everything's up.
That year later,
May not be
of course, that we won't have the money.
Yes,
So as long as you say, go ahead, we will do our necessary,
I believe we have to go ahead with this.
We have to go.
well, that's our recommendation.
You have to find the plan B and be ready.
Yeah, we'll be ready.
And I don't want to jinx it, but Mr. Tague always tells us, be prepared, and then he comes back with good news, and then.
He does bring us good news quite often, so we're
I
gonna
believe
believe
he
he's
will
gonna bring
bring
us
us
good
good
news.
news in July about this thing being there and the work starting, but by all means.
So yes, we will continue. So I already sent the email. It's already sent.
And
I'll see.
part of our planning is short-term solution, medium-term solution, long-term solution for Plan B. So, you know, this is extremely early in the news coming
Correct.
to our attention and us working out some of the foundational elements of these thoughts and plans that we're gonna do. But like I said, we have some time to get through this. We have some time to monitor the market
Yeah.
and the environment, and then, you know, we'll have options and plans in place for whatever situation in front of us.
And you did share that a representative, they're very serious about accommodating us. A representative actually comes to your meetings, correct?
Yes.
So that's so valuable. It's not like we're not forgotten. All right,
Good luck.
all right, so we'll do that and we move forward. Okay, good.
Next is high school heater replacement bid review. Committee members received the bid tabulation. This relates to 4 large domestic hot water heaters that we have here in the high school. One of them failed a test. Now, our hot water heaters are actually essentially considered boilers, and they're controlled by the Bureau of Boiler and Pressure Vessel Compliance from the state. They come out and do annual inspections on them, permit them for us. The 4 in series, the one at the very end and most difficult position to access, had substantial corrosion around the base of it. It failed, we received a violation notice, so we have to address it. We put together a bid spec to go out and have it replaced. I can tell you, we have these PVI water heaters elsewhere in the district. We have replaced them over the years, the most recent one at Mill Lake School. In the past, we've purchased them ourselves and then our local plumber to install them. We went out to bid on this, and some of the challenges we ran into is that they no longer make that make model. They've kind of condensed it, so it's no longer the same size. It's a shorter, fatter unit, which makes things a lot more complex when you have 3 units at one size and one at a smaller size. The price came in extremely high for this, almost 3 times what we paid for a previous one. For that reason, my recommendation at this time is to simply award the alternate, which is to cut out and cap the existing unit, and we will work off of the 3 existing units. I can tell you these systems, boilers, hot water heaters, et cetera, are not designed to just meet full capacity. They have a redundancy aspect to them, sometimes as much as 100% redundancy. In other words, if we have 6 boilers, we really only need 3 at max capacity, and the other 3 are redundant as they fall offline. So we have redundancy built in here. The other kind of win for us in this is that we have the combined heat and power system going in under ESIP, which will be installed this summer. And that is a gas-electric hybrid that, when we started this, didn't realize, hey, we're going to be picking up capacity off of that. So I'm very comfortable that we're not going to need that boiler or that
That makes sense.
hot water heater to get us through. The VHP system will add some additional capacity to us. But what I further recommend is that 4 of these units are going on 14, 15 years old now. And as you know, water meter usually only lasts about 12 years. So we're at that point where they all need to be replaced. So the prudent approach would be in the upcoming budget, we build in for next year,
Makes sense.
design
Makes
and
sense.
replace the entire capacity.
And it might look very differently, like you're saying.
Yeah, we did that at the middle school, I want to say 4 years ago. We replaced their hot water system with new, we did it as a design build, and it went very well. So that would be the recommended approach. Simply award the $4,950 here, have the existing unit
Remove it.
removed, capped, close out our violation
Makes
notice,
Okay.
and then
Makes sense.
proceed for the next year.
Okay.
Just a quick question. The water heaters, that's something that falls on, I remember seeing it on the ESTIP presentation, but I didn't remember if that was something that we approved to be part of it.
No, not the actual water heaters, but we did get the
Boilers?
combined heat and power system,
Okay.
which adds capacity to the heating system.
So which would make sense, that would be new, I'm thinking, and then if you put that in and go with the newer ones in the following year, then you have a whole new system, the
Right.
physical.
And could possibly designed to a lesser capacity.
Right.
From one of my understandings of the ESIP is that we could add a second phase of the project where we do these energy efficient water heaters, because I did it in my house, like through the state program.
Right.
Where literally the cost is upfront covered by the state and I'm paying a very nominal monthly fee. And honestly, it's energy efficient, so it's saving me money overall. So can we add in the future? So this year we see how our savings is going. Can we add a phase
If there's
to?
additional monies available, yes. We've already talked to Honeywell about that. We have,
What other things then?
some split systems, which are on a higher,
Right,
preference list for it. We've talked to them about trying to phase those in. What I just talked to you about capacity. So when we, are doing the boilers next door at the middle school,
Mhm.
we had a design done, and we have existing boilers there. The manufacturer of these air-cooled boilers has changed those boilers as well. They are higher capacity, so it now means we need less boilers.
Mhm.
So we may be able to realize some savings there. Instead of having 8 units, we can go down to
Fine.
6 units, but they're higher capacity. So
right.
2 million BTUs now, 3 million is the standard. So as efficiencies get better, the equipment becomes less and
Right,
free up
right.
space for some
Like
other.
air conditioners.
So for right now, the capacity of the 3 remaining water heaters would suffice for the high school.
Correct.
With the added unit, that would come through the current ESIP plan.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm glad that we've got a problem, but we also do
Have a solution. It's beautiful.
Wish everything worked like that.
Okay, next item is the ESIP project solar connection agreements. So you received several documents, which I wouldn't recommend reading them.
Sure?
There were 8 documents or 240 pages additional that I left out for you.
Thank you.
I printed one to pass around, because you're gonna be asked to act on these. These are JCP&L interconnection application and agreement. It's an agreement between the Board of Ed and JCP&L to connect solar to their systems, as you know, you make solar.
Yeah.
There's a separate one for each site. If anyone wants to look at it, it's another 240 pages of legal. I will tell you, everything is being vetted by Bush Law Group, and you'll be asked via resolution prepared by Bush to allow the board secretary to execute those and enter.
And they really read them.
I do have a question we're talking about the power purchase agreement, right? Is that what- And there's a disclosure form that was sent in the board attachment. There's just one sentence that just bothered me because I didn't expect to read that. So it says that generally the initial monthly PPA payment amount is less than the amount you would pay your electric utility, which is why we're doing this, for the same amount of electricity. However, monthly PPA payment amounts typically escalate at a fixed annual percentage, again, understood, probably right, which could result in monthly PPA payments becoming higher or lower than the monthly electricity utility payment amount in the future. My concern here are they just covering their bases,
Yes.
or have we seen something like this happen to, you know?
So this is not a
people who've done
document
before?
prepared by our vendor. This is New Jersey Clean Energy, who facilitates the program for the state.
Okay.
I
This
can
is not our
assure you,
vendor disclosure, okay.
the, whatever, 4 or 5 cents a kilowatt hour that the board is contracted for, you will never, ever be able to get cheaper than that. And we're paying 13 to 14 cents now, and as everybody knows,
Oh, it just went up
homeowners, everyone is going up 20%.
20%.
Yeah,
So at no time will it drop so drastically from the utility.
okay, so my concern rests, thank you, thank you. It was just that it struck out to me, I was like, well, what's the whole point of going in for this?
I think that the legalese language is that
I
constant cover all bases.
Our shopping has been solid enough that
Yes.
we're starting at a rate that even if it keeps increasing, we'll be okay.
Mr. Tate, I just have one quick question. The attachment that we had something about the SRECs. Is that something that we will be eligible for? Because it mentioned that solar facilities participating in the ADI program are eligible to receive incentives through the sale of solar renewable energy credits.
No, the contractor you contract with,
So
they
they
get the
get
SRECs.
Okay.
That's
It
what
says
they
in
do.
a PPA, the power provider, not the customer, owns
Oh.
any, just the end of that paragraph.
Got it.
Right, so
Okay.
we're literally just giving them our space, taking electricity from them, and they get to play around.
And we're getting a cheaper
And they
cost.
have to maintain it.
And they maintain
They
that us.
maintain it, they do everything, we just get the electricity at a cheaper cost than what.
They're renting it, we're the homeowner.
That's what I
They're
thought,
renting the
and I
space.
saw that,
Right,
and
right.
I appreciate that.
Transportation?
No,
Nice. We got an update?
quiet is good.
Transportation?
Quiet is good.
Everything's going well from what I can see. I'm reviewing everything and we're putting, a notice out to hire more bus drivers. I have 6 lined up right now. I have 2 aides that are training right now and they should be ready for their test at the end of May.
Okay.
The way it looks, I may not have to contract any out next year.
May, just say May.
May.
That's
May.
our goal.
But that's my goal, and it looks like I may be able to do that, and we have enough buses, so I don't have to worry about purchasing any more buses. I'm looking to put a bid out for all the field trips and for all the athletics. I don't know if I'll get them all covered, but if I can get the majority of them covered at a good rate, better than we're paying this year, I think it would be a win-win.
So, and we probably meet, if not daily, then every other day, or talk, she literally
Yeah.
walks over. And it's really a good opportunity because I want to compliment you, she has provided seating charts. We have a detailed, response of the way we handle things if it's a contracted bus with the principal, writing an email directly to you, so it's documented. I can't say enough, I don't get any nasty emails. You're very, by the time I responded to a parent who had a question, she had already responded, and I think communication is key. Parents just want to be communicated with.
And I have
You know-
been speaking with a lot of the parents, and I have a meeting with one tomorrow. I'm working hand in hand with them, because sometimes they just don't understand what's going on with the bus. So if I sit down, I talk to them, they voice their concern, I voice mine, and it seems to be working. You know, I'm a parent also, so I get where they're coming from, and that's what I always tell them. I said, you know, listen, I know what you're going, let's talk this out, and 9 times out of 10, it's working, so.
It's been working very well. So we're very pleased. The other thing is, we already know that the cost will come down because we currently we'll use the expression of middleman through ESC&J. So one of the things that Donna has said, that regardless of whether we could bring everybody in-house, which is our goal,
Yes.
the middleman will be cut out. So automatically, the administrative fee, because that's what they
Yes.
call it, it's actually an administrative fee, will then not have to be paid. So already our cost is going down. So we met together, also with Laura,
Mhm.
and we went over all the budgetary concerns, where our costs are at. She comes to our leadership team meetings, which is great because she interacts with the principals and vice principals and supervisors, which is good because we wanna, transportation is not on an island. It is us, and it's part of us. And we always say, the school day begins when you walk out of your house and when you walk into the building, and therefore, we call it another classroom.
Into the bus.
And-
not
Correct, the
the-
bus is the classroom, and you walk into the bus. No, I walk into the building at the end,
How is
after I
your,
drop you off.
fleet, your maintenance, everything's
Excellent,
fine?
excellent. Everything's going very well. And just to go back to, if we do have to contract some of the routes, if we bid it in-house, we have more control over the specs.
Mhm.
And we can,
The cleanliness, the seat belts, the
the
expectations.
language barrier at times,
No, we have the buses too.
We do have I
Okay.
checked with the mechanics. We do have the buses and we'll still have plenty, we'll have enough spares.
Yeah, you-
And we're gonna be selling two of the.
Yes, we're very excited
the
about
small
our sales.
buses. So, yeah, everything, the only thing is the parking now. That's the only problem, is the parking. So
Yeah,
we'll
there are-
work around that. It's tight, but other than that, everything's been fantastic, I have to say. I'm so glad I came here.
I'm happy to have you.
Thank you. It's a really good bunch
I
of
had a
drivers.
couple
Go ahead.
questions, but-
I'm sorry.
So has the work started on the pilot, on the bus,
Oh, Mill Lake.
No, that has not.
Okay, but you have been
Involved
looking
in
at
meetings.
it. Do you have
I
any
have.
concerns, any opinions on that?
I do actually have an opinion on that.
I would love to
I
hear
went
that.
to a conference and, it was a school bus association, and I knew this before, but I actually spoke with them. We have two programs that we use right now. We use TransFinder, and they actually have the app available
This is what sort of said like.
through it. So we already have the system, we already have all the information in it. So I think that would be something we could also just look into, because it may be
Do it
more-
in-house?
Sure.
Right.
Because one of the reasons why Mill Lake, volunteered, I want to thank, the principal Garcia, she volunteered, was because she has no contracted routes. So when she volunteered to be part of the pilot, it was doable. She came back for the conference, called me and said, Shari, we already have this. Not to say we're not gonna work, because we did make a commitment, there's no cost to us, of course, it's always good to have more than one vendor, right? To look at things, but it is a conversation we started to have. The summer will give us a lot of time to really work and look at what's doable, how is it maintained, is there any additional costs, what's the training involved?
Right.
Is it available on everybody?
How easy is it to use?
100%, but it's very interesting, she was very excited when she came back from this conference. Another thing that we're looking at is we're also looking at, the way we train our bus drivers, the training that goes on. She's working hand in hand with Dr. Lehman, as well as Ms. Petrovic and Ms. Goldberg, Ms. Goldberg, our staff developers. And that's what it really comes down to, and that's why I think we're having success, is this constant interaction. So she was very excited about that. So we started to explore it.
It's good to have the
Yeah.
parallels.
And it's fun, and they're a great company as well. He brought it to us, and it's not costing us anything, but once again, we could only currently do it right now in the lake. Why? Because they have no contracted buses. We hope to have no contracted buses next year, but if we need them, we need them. And they are all safe,
Yes.
and they follow all the rules.
Yes.
The other thing that that came to my mind was, so with the whole conversation of the Plan B, this would be an integral.
Oh, and we already had a conversation about Plan B. So,
No matter what. your
no
plan
matter
is,
what happens, no
this
matter
definitely
where our
gets
children,
impacted.
we already had a conversation. The next person I would have a conversation with, but we haven't yet, will be with Miss Cindy Sushello. Because we want to look at food service, look at transportation, as well as educating, housing, safety, security, nurses, we got it all. We are very well aware of it, and, we're not, no, we're not,
A lot of boxes
a
to
lot of
check.
boxes to check, but we already had a conversation. I immediately called her over and said,
How to
if
do that.
this was to happen, if this is where they went, can this be done? And her answer was yes.
I just had one transportation
Good question.
question. Regarding field trips, this is something that I wasn't sure if there's been any laws that have changed, but are there any requirements to have certain buses based on whether or not students are going out of state, or if they're going with like a certain total mileage? Or is it really whatever we can get when you use?
The only law there is that the bus has to be registered as interstate. Other than that, you're not required to get a coach bus for any set amount of distance.
Okay,
We've made it very, so what we've done is, something else we've done this year. So what we started looking at is we have a bid threshold that we must stay within. And our assistant business administrator is diligent, and I use that word very lightly, extremely diligent in making sure that we follow that statute and we do not go over that. What does that mean? It means that we know that when they're going far, Dorney Park, we want to give them a coach bus. It's appropriate, it's a far ride. We also know that if they need the coach bus, we ask our supervisors, principals, assistant principals, whoever's doing the request, which goes through his office, do it as soon as you find out. Do it now for next May. Why? Because we want to make sure they have a coach bus, so that if somebody wants to just go to the Philadelphia Museum and they really want a coach bus, but we can't give it to them because we meet this bid threshold, we will take it away from them to get to the other one. So it's not that one is more important, it's that distance plays a role, but there is no pardon me, there is no requirement.
thank you.
There is no requirement, and that's something we started looking into this year also, because we want to be respectful. Parents are willing to pay for the coach bus and want it. We want to accommodate them, but we have to accommodate them within the bid threshold requirement. We always have to follow statute and law first, and then we accommodate whatever parents we can accommodate.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Oh, you got time.
Okay, that's the conclusion of our meeting. Everybody have a
I
good
don't feel guilty anymore.